Peace, peace, peace. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. Peace, peace, peace. Greetings, everyone. Thank you for coming in. GADGETSl, thank you for being here. I see you. Thank you for coming back, I should say. Thank you for joining. Hey, how are you, SFA? Joshua, welcome in. I know y'all wasn't expecting to see me sitting here in my space. Y'all was expecting to see me up and moving about. Great rising, great rising, great rising. Y'all know, oh, I left my tea. I don't even feel like getting them to get it. But y'all know that Allison, welcome in. Alice, welcome in. Okay, so we're going to be tapping into right away. Thanks. This is my original background, y'all. This is my original background. Yeah, it's me. Thank you. I appreciate it. We're going to be tapping into what's on your plate. That's the title. What's on your plate. So what I decided to do is we're going to take a step back from, I do my workouts on Monday and do my workouts on Tuesdays. Tuesdays, we tap into wellness, which we're doing a little bit of everything. Motivational Monday, we're motivating, getting our week started. But Wednesday is always that day where most people just ready to get the week over with, So honestly, that makes me think that we should have a 3-day week, right? As far as a work week goes, right? So 3-day week. So a lot of times I think everything is just, put together however it's put together. With that being said, though, we're going to be talking about what's on your plate. And so this whole concept came to be because I was talking with some other viewers and supporters, and we came up with the concept that we should talk about things that are on a plate. So we're not just talking about what's on your plate. Welcome in, Rita. Welcome in, Teresa. Not just what's on your plate. Nutritionally, like your food and that. I mean, I know y'all expect me to talk about what's on your plate for nutrition because what I do, right? But what we're going to talk about is not just the nutritional side of it, but the physical side of it, as well as the emotional side, the mindset, the mental, right? We're going to talk about all those areas. But it's going to be a consistent thing that we do. So when we talk about what's on your plate, we're not just talking about food. Sometimes your plate is full and you don't eat before you even sit down. So we talk about that physical plate, right? You load it up because it looks good, because someone else served it to you, because you didn't want to say no, right? And halfway through, you realize that it's more than you can finish. So you know how they be like your eyes is bigger than your stomach is, your eyes is bigger than your stomach, that kind of thing. But the concept itself, going into the concept of completely being your plate is full, as well as your plate being full for the physical aspect of it. Okay, so that's what we're tapping into. It happens with food, and then it also happens in life. We put too much on our plate, and we're talking about responsibilities, expectations, emotions, and then we feel guilty when we can't get it off of our plate, right? Sometimes we're feeding ourselves extra. Sometimes we're letting people feed us things, and then it just don't sit right, right? It just don't sit right with us. Now, if let me get to this. I made notes, y'all. Y'all see my notepad right here. I got notes because I wanted to stay on point and be able to get my point across here, for sure. Let's see here now. Now, as I mentioned before, we're going to tap into something, I'm calling it what's, on your plate. And when I say this, um, of course, nutrition matters, right? Of course, nutrition matters. But I'm going to tell y'all a story. I'm going to tell y'all a story. That's what I'm going to do, okay? I want you to think about this. Right now, what's on your plate right now that doesn't need to be there? And this is the physical plate. If you could answer in the chat, what's on your plate right now that doesn't need to be there? Think about that. We're going to be checking in every Wednesday talking about this, but I want y'all to drop in the chat, what's on your plate right now that does not need to be there? Okay. Um, all right. And then, all right, so we talked about how how this can show up in three ways, right? So what's on your plate can show up in three ways. We're going to drop it into food, mental and emotional, physical, and responsibilities. What you're eating, how much you eat, and how often you eat, and then your thoughts, your worries, your expectations, and what you're replaying in your mind over and over and over again, right? And then you have the tasks, the obligations, things you said yes to that you didn't even want to say yes to. How many times, put that in the chat, how many times do we, people with no integrity, yes, need something new. Welcome in, welcome in. Absolutely, that is true, that is true. Drop in the chat how many times we say yes when we really want to say no. You get what I'm saying? Make sure you tap in the screen, liking the live as well. When you come through the building, make sure you tap in the screen, liking the live. How many times we say yes when we want to say no, right? These are things that we carry on our plate. I do it a lot, okay, in my experience. So this is something that I thought would be focus that definitely, if I'm feeling it, most people are feeling it as well, right? They're all you have some type of something that you're carrying on here, okay? So, all right, so I see someone saying yes, 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 okay, yes. Yep. You always carrying things. You're saying yes when you don't want to say yes. All right. Okay, so also tell me in the comments if you have um, a heavy plate right now, whether it's just opposed to full. Is it heavy or is it full? Greasy food, uninvited spirits that can be hard to drop. Absolutely, absolutely. Need something new? Yes. Thank you so much. And thank you for the roses. Thank you so much for the roses. Absolutely. Need something new says he's carrying greasy foods, uninvited things. These are things that can be on the plate. Greasy foods, uninvited spirits that can be hard to drop. Now that's deep. Okay, when you talk about those spirits, that's deep. That's energy. And we were talking about cleansing energy the other day. We were talking about cleansing energy and auras the other day. These are ways we're going to talk about the ways that they show up, but we're not going to go over the things that we've already discussed as far as that goes. Thank you for the follow. Thank you so much for being number one fan. Thank you for tapping the screen and liking the live. If you would go ahead and also let's see here. Let's see. Mm-mm-mm. All right, let's talk about this. Now, this is what I'm going to tell you a story. This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to share this story with you. Okay. Um, let's put some scenarios in place, right? So just imagine. Thank you for the daily heart me. Just imagine. it's a Friday night, right? This is when people get comfortable. They get this the end of the week. They like, I want to chill, right? I want to relax. And they say it's Friday night. You decide to treat yourself after a long week. You sit down and with a plate of food, comfort food. And he hit it right on the nose when he said greasy foods. A lot of times we're looking at foods that we put on our plate, like we look at sweet, salty, greasy, fried foods, pasta, something that comfort food, right? We're looking at those things that we put on our plate when we want to feel some type of way, right? Those are things that we put on our plate. And then you eat it, but after you eat it, you don't really feel great, right? You feel good in the moment because it's serving that purpose, but in the end, you don't feel great. So, your stomach, you overfull, your energy is low, you're sluggish, you're uncomfortable, and the rest of the whole time you are it's not even enjoyable for you. You know what I'm saying? You're not even enjoying it. What was meant to nourish your body, you actually left you heavier and slower. Another one, he says, rejection is protection. It's important to identify with yourself in order to be successful. Tapping and going within, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Always speaking of going within on that, right? Identifying with yourself, knowing who you are, know thyself. And always, everything starts on the inside. We're going to get to that for sure. We're going to talk about that for sure because I'm always talking about how everything starts on the inside. And I'm going to show you how all this is connected, all right? Peace and love. Welcome in, Cozy at Coco's. Thank you for being here. Now, that's okay. So basically, you feeling slower, you feeling heavier because you indulged in this food, right? But it made you feel good at that moment. Now, that's your plate physically, but here is what I'm saying right here. The same patterns that happen in life happens when you are overindulging in your food, okay? Overeating, overindulging, consuming more than your body needs. It carries over into how you carry your responsibilities. You get what I mean? Your thoughts, your emotions. These things are all connected. This is what I'll be talking about. It's connected. It is connected. And so the heavier your plate, the harder it is to move. Think about this analogy I just gave you. You ate all this food and now you're heavy. You don't want to move. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to show up for yourself. And the same thing happens when it comes into over consuming too much, literally. You get what I'm saying? So your thoughts and emotions become heavy. What you put on your plate nutritionally impacts how you show up physically. The heavier your plate, the harder it is to move and think and focus and be in the moment of whatever really matters. Now, sometimes we need to feed ourselves extra just because sometimes, I guess I should say, we don't need to, but sometimes we feed ourselves extra because it looks good or we feel like, how many of y'all say this? I deserve it. I deserve to have this. I deserve to get this. I deserve to add this. And this goes into a perspective, not just of food, not just food. We always say how we deserve to have an extra plate of this or extra plate of that, not just food. We're talking about the things that we say we deserve that we don't necessarily deserve, right? Thank you for being a title gifter. Need something new. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for your engagement. I appreciate that so much. But we sometimes sign up. Now, I'm going to give a perfect example, right? I was watching a content creator on here, and they were talking about how to build how to build your audience, how to, create, and how they had this course that you could take and that you could do. And all of this, sounds good, makes you feel good. Ah, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Needs something new. Absolutely. Um, and he's talking about how great this is, right? How wonderful these things. And you thinking to yourself, I need that. But you got 10, 12, 15 other things going on in your life already. Right? You got a whole slew of things happening already, but you want to add, because of an emotional attachment to something, you want to add this next thing to your life. So you sitting up here contemplating, am I going to go ahead and add one more thing onto my plate? And this is what we have to start to think about before, and not act on emotions. Emotions will have us trapped in a space that we don't want to be in. And then you're now obligated. So if I would have signed up after already having so many things to do, so many things on my plate, if I would have signed up for that particular course, I now would have been obligated to have one more thing on my plate, not to mention all the things I already got to do, right? I care for my mother. I care for my grandchildren. I work a regular 9 to 5. I do social media. I am a content creator. I'm here showing up. I'm cooking every day or Saturday, just so many things, right? And not to mention, none of those things I said had anything to do with who I am as an individual. Everything you heard me say had something to do with something external from me. Did you hear that? Everything was for someone else. When you are anointed, you don't need a special course. When you serve the master will. Yes, come through, need something new. Yes. Hey, Auntie's World, welcome in. Thank you for being here. So I'd sit up here and I'm like, these things are all external from myself. So this is why I'm in a place right now where I'm tapping into my inner being. So when we talk about energy and how we're tapping within ourselves, we need to tap into that energy, right? Inside ourselves. All right. So we have to tap into those things. Now, sometimes, I just want to also share this now. Tap it. Let's talk about this. So when I talked about how everything is, hey Takesha, peace and love. Welcome in. Welcome in. When I talked about how everything is connected, the purposes behind you understanding that there is a piece to the puzzle that you don't always see, right? If we start connecting the dots, I know this sounds so cliche. We start connecting the dots and putting the pieces to the puzzle in the place, we can see the bigger picture, right? We can see how that picture is going to unfold for us. You get to design what your picture looks like. What you carry on your plate physically, nutritionally, as well as mentally and emotionally, in conjunction spiritually and physically, right? So we got a whole, gamut that happens, but we don't even think of it that way. We think of it as individual pieces. Oh, I ate this and I overate, right? I I have all these things to do, and that's something I got to do. And the emotional, the weight, the depression, the mental instability, and all the things that your mind is going a mile a minute, we put that there. But when you connect them, you realize that one is happening because the other one is happening because the other one is happening. So you have to address it in the order in which it has, because you can't put the puzzle together and connect the piece that don't go, right? The puzzle's not going to physically go together if you don't connect that piece in the right place. So the picture can be distorted. It's all about spiritual maturity. You can carry the weight, but it's a maturity that can move it. Now, we're going to tap into that as well. Need something new for sure. Definitely. Thank you for sharing the live. Tarkisha, thank you so much for sharing the live. Now, let's put this puzzle in place, right? First, we're gonna talk about, because we're gonna take this. This is gonna be a continual thing that we talk about, right? So we're not gonna put it all in one bucket, but right now we're gonna talk about the nutrition piece. Okay, so the nutrition piece, grand rising, grand rising. The nutrition piece is, as a matter of fact, we need to. Okay. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to screenshot that because I need to come back, make sure I talk about that. Even if I don't talk about it today, need something new. I'm going to make sure I touch on that. All right. So the nutritional piece of this is you need to tap into the why do you nourish your body the way you do. That's first. That's the first portion of it. Why do you nourish your body the way that you do? Why are you putting these things into your body the way that you do? Now let's talk about what it is you're putting into your body and the nutrition that you're taking in. Do you need to ask yourself these questions, right? These questions is what you need to ask yourself, right? Why am I consuming what I'm consuming? Is it because you feel like you deserve it? Is it because you, wait a minute, it says you're restricted some audiences. Your live contains some themes that may find uncomfortable and has been restricted. What? It says what am I, what am I promoting? What are they talking about? Okay. They said they're restricting my live, y'all. Hey, Sassy. Okay. Yeah, I'm over here on I don't know. I've never seen that before. It says swipe up and back, swipe down and back up. Okay, that's what I just did. Okay. They play on words. I didn't even say anything. I said, y'all heard what I said. I didn't say anything, but I'm not going to be, see, that's what I'm talking about. These distractions, your mental. I don't want to attach. I don't want to say I don't have, because I have the capacity to do all things, right? But I don't want to. I don't want to have to attack and address those type of things, right? Right? I don't want to have to do that. Sassy, thank you for being here. Sis, it's good to see you. Wow. Now, this is what I was saying. So he says, need something new says, this is the way the thought of being undeveloped can cause you to eat anything. Okay, so these are definitely, I'm telling you, he is on it. He's tapping into some things, but watch this. So if we tap into why we're eating what we're eating, but also realizing what we're eating, how it impacts how we go forward, then we would be more cautious, right, to put certain things on our plate. When it came down to me, until I got to a place where I'm at now, I used to binge eat. And I'm gonna tell you, in a recent time, I binge eat. I just binge eat something totally different, right? Because in my space, we do address things like addiction, because addiction can look like in so many different ways. The one thing that's not really talked about is food addiction. And so that nutrition on your plate that I'm speaking about, that I keep coming back to, the nutrition on your plate, what's on your plate plays into why you have this addiction and or need that you feel to eat the way that you're eating, right? Thank you, Sassy, for being in the fan club for 1 month. Um, so what it no, they didn't. TikTok do what they want to do. They do what they want to do. All right. Um the thing that I experienced was I used to do late night binging. That's what I called it, right? I would go out in the middle of the night, and it was sneaking. I was sneaking out, right? But I would sneak out the house. I'm going to tell you the situation, then we're going to talk about the cause, right? I would sneak out the house. And when I say sneak, because my children would be in the home sleeping, they would be sleeping. And I would just be up, and I would be like, you know what? I couldn't go to sleep. So I would be like, I'm going to go to McDonald's. Y'all know that's a cuss word here on my channel. That is a swearing word on my channel, McDonald's, right? But I would go to McDonald's and I would purchase in the midnight drive-through. We're talking after 12 a.m. I would purchase whatever was available, because they had a late night menu, and so I would get a chicken nugget. I would get the double cheeseburger, whatever it was called, the McDouble. They would have that available. Of course, I would get a large fry. I would get the shake machine would never work. Y'all know the shake machine don't work at McDonald's. I would want a shake, but I would get a large orange Fanta. Okay. And this is and I would get two burgers, two chicken nuggets, and and a large drink, right? And a large fry, right? This is what I would do. Why did I do this? And when I would get back, I would be so happy to get back. All I could think about was getting back, getting under my covers, sitting there, turning on my television, and just sitting there eating it in bliss, just taking it in. Why was I doing this? Because soon as I was done, and it would happen every time. That's why I know it's an addiction, because if you felt like crap after you did something, why would you go back and do it again unless it was something that was causing you to do it? So we have to attack the reasons that we do what we do, right? So look at this. I would eat it and feel like crap afterwards, every time. Whether I felt physically like crap or I felt like crap because I knew I shouldn't have ate this time of night, right? Thank you so much for the boxing gloves. Yes, 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 yes. And thank you for continuing liking the live. Um, and thank you for the roses. Thank you for the roses. So now, when I finally, it took years, y'all. It took years, years. This is not something that was an overnight thing for me. I'm not telling you it'll take you years to get to where you are. Thank you for the hand hearts. I'm not saying it's going to take you forever. Everybody has their own time frame, but it took me a while to realize what I had on my plate, right? What I was actually carrying on my plate had nothing to do with the nutritional portion of it, except for that nutritional portion impacted my physical health. My mental health is what the challenge in this whole situation was, because of all the things that I had to deal with that I did not. I realized when this actually took place, it started happening after my husband had passed away. So you have to identify the reason that something happened. It didn't happen immediately either. It wasn't, I didn't even attach it. I had to do some real soul searching. I had to go and look at my entire plate to see why everything felt so weighted down and heavy, why this addiction was taking over my life. I had to tap into these areas of my life in order to see what it was that was causing me to do what I was doing. So when I looked at these things, right, my husband's gone. Now basically what they call a single parent. I'm trying to make sure that my family has what it needs. Everything is on my shoulders at this point. When you're not properly prepared when somebody's going to die, there's a lot. But when you think that you got it, and you just kind of put it to the wayside, and you don't address it, because I never addressed it. When you don't address it to that extent where you actually can outline what's going on in your life and you actually address it, when you don't address it, what happens is it shows up on your nutritional plate. Am I making sense, y'all? It shows up on your nutritional plate. It shows up in the food that you're partaking in and in the way that you partake in it. Okay, so if you're eating food that is no good for you, that can cause you stress on your body, it can cause you stress in your physical, it could in your mental. You know that these things cause these things, but you do it anyway, and you feel like crap, and you keep coming back to it. There's something else that needs to be addressed, and it's not the food that you're putting into your body. Okay, so those things that you need to address have nothing to do with. Thank you for the Go Populars. Has nothing to do with the physical food that you're partaking in. It has to do with what caused that food to appear on your plate in the beginning. Why are you eating in the way that you're eating? Why are you putting these things in your body? These are places that you need to tap into. Now, when I talk about tapping into yourself, tapping within, I say go in, tap within, go within, go within. Y'all say, you say that a lot, because this is where this makes all the difference. If you go within yourself and figure out what it is that is going on with you, you begin to tap into that portion that I talk about all the time, because 2026 is about what? Self-care. How can you be caring for yourself when you piling up over your plate, when your plate is overfilled? How can you be caring for yourself when you don't have a idea of what's going on, but you're just going through the motions? We have to start thinking beyond what physically is happening and go within. That's what has to happen. All right. Thank you for being here, Gigi Nart. I appreciate you joining the live. Welcome in. And so, hey, Real Odds and Evens, I see you, my brother. Thank you for being here. And so, yes, self-love versus self-indulgence. And I'm gonna take that one more step further, right? I'm gonna say this. A lot of times people really think that they love themselves, but if they look at how they treat themselves, because they don't even consciously think about how they're treating themselves, because it becomes second nature. When you wake up in the morning, you automatically do the things that you do. It's not even something that you even really think about. You don't even put a lot of thought in it, right? You don't even put a lot of emphasis on the things that you do, because it's just a habit. It's just something that you do. But if you really thought about how you're treating yourself, would you call it love? Would you call it love? Putting things in your body that does not serve you, allowing people to put things on your plate that does not serve you, not saying no when you saying yes when you really want to say no. Are these ways that you say, is that self-love? I don't know. You would have to decide for you what self-love looks like for you, right? I know for myself that going within myself, going within, knowing thyself. I've been working on knowing, I didn't even know I needed to know myself. I was so busy. I did everything external from myself. Everything was external from me. I handled my children. I handled the bills. I handled the I took them to school. I did all the things, right? I cooked the meals. Even the meals didn't even have any conscious thought process in it. People say, "Oh, you cook with love, you give love." If you're not loving on the food that you're providing, you're just providing a plate in front of your family, then you're not even feeding them love. The vibration that you're giving them is not even love. So what they got on their plate, they're taking on your energy onto their plate. And now everybody is being impacted by what's happening. What's on your plate is impacting everybody's plate. Just follow me on this. Follow me on this. Follow me on this. Okay. If you are serving others in any capacity, what you are giving off, even if you feel like you're being really kind and really, attentive, your energy don't lie. Energy transmutes, and it doesn't have any factor that it connects to one way or the other. If you have this energy in your body that's happening, that you are transmuting out, that's not a positive energy, or you have all these things on your plate that you're now giving out to your family and friends, you're not it's not a good place, a good space. What people fail to realize, that that when it's done the right way becomes a danger. Hold on. I don't know what you were saying. I can't make it out. Can you repeat that for me? Need something new? Yes. Yes, it can compromise the taste of the food. And see, if you take this literally, right? So we go back to him saying self-indulgence over self-love, right? And then you took the literal of what I said. Think about this. It literally changes the taste of the food, right? It literally changes the way that you show up, or what you omit from yourself. It physically does this. Why would you not think about doing something for yourself? Because you're always serving others. But there is a true disconnect in serving others when we think that, I think it. I don't know about y'all, but I think it. I know I'm all over the place, but stick with me, stick with me. When you're serving others, people say, I love to serve others. I love to do for others. And and nobody has to do anything for me. I'm going to say that we have an expectation, regardless if we say it out loud. Just because you don't say it out loud don't make it not true. We all have expectations that if I do something for you, that in return, whether it's from that person directly, um, or if it was from somewhere else, you feel like you deserve something back. You expect something back. And we make expectation a negative. Expectation is not negative. Why wouldn't we expect that what we put out will get back in return, because that is the law of the universe. What you put out, you get back. No matter what it is, that is the law of the universe. What you put out, you get back. So if you are doing and giving and being and doing, why wouldn't you have the expectation of, because the law of the universe says that you're supposed to get it back. And yes, and it can even be negative. Absolutely. So if you put out negativity, you're going to get back negativity. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. Even though you are negatively, sometimes we don't do it consciously. Even if you unconsciously put something out into the universe, guess what will happen? The universe is not deciphering if you meant to do it or not. It's just going to come back to you, and you're not going to even understand why. Because in your mind, all you can see is, I'm this person that does and do, and I'm here for everybody, and I show up. So why would this thing happen to me? Well, you didn't think about that time that you stood in line and you was just very nasty and condescending. Because we all do it. You know, people want to put themselves on this high horse and say that they don't, I'm not that way. Well, maybe you're not that way 90% of the time. But nobody is all of anything. Everything is a balance, right? Everything is a balance. Exactly, Gigi. Human nature. Everything is a balance. We can't be all everything. We can't be all loving. We can't be all kind. We can't be all evil. It's impossible. Because nature, and I'm a follower of nature. Nature is balance. It's not all cold. It's not all hot. It's not all bees and butterflies. It's not all, you get what I'm saying? It's not all anything. It's a mixture, and it's a balance. And that's what we are. And so when you put something out there, you may forget about it because that's not your common way of responding or acting, but you now see that you have to be more conscious about the things that you do. And that brings it back, and let's wrap it back up to being conscious about what we're putting on our plate, about how we are respecting ourselves and loving ourselves. We disrespect ourselves more than anybody else disrespects us. Watch this. You're probably like, Queen, why would you say such a thing? Why would you say I disrespect myself? How many times do you let yourself down? Disrespect. How many times do you say you're going to do something that you don't do? Disrespect. And watch this, because it's three of you. It's the present, the past, and the future. You. It's all in the yous, right? It's all you. You are now, you are then, and you're in the future. However that looks, right? So if you're now, if your current person, right, your present person says today, I'm going to do better about what I put on my plate. I'm going to be very conscious about what I put on my plate. Today, I'm not going to eat any fried foods. I'm going to eat vegetables and fruits today. And that's what I'm going to do. And so now your present self becomes your past self. And in the present, because that conversation I just had is now in the past. I just said what I was going to do. That's now in the past. Now your present self is sitting here eating a fried fish sandwich. But you just let down your future self. Because now your future self, which now is going to be in the future, now you have to go backtrack and apologize for that thing. It depends on, he says it depends on the veggies as well. You can have those fried too. All right, so if you think about it that way, then you forever, letting yourself down, which is a constant disrespect to yourself. So stop making empty and vague promises to yourself. Now, what I want to tell you is that I have a journal, right? I have the 7-day journal that I use. um, well, that I have used in the past. It's something that I created for myself, and it's right online. And so, in this 7-day journal, it allows me to compartmentalize a week, right? So instead of trying to look at this big picture, because that's what we typically do, right? We typically be like, okay, if I start here, in 30 days, I should be here. Mm-mm. Take it one day, 1 week, then into a month. So I started doing this to journal out what I planned to do, what I actually did do, and what was the result. What those things, doing that, journaling it out. Some of us, we good with them thumbs. We could text somebody. We going through these. It's right online, right? But the beauty of that is that when instead of, and I have it set as a default, y'all. So instead of when I get ready to go on to one of these medias, it defaults and makes that suggestion for that journal. So if I'm getting derailed from the things that I'm supposed to do, the things that I got on my plate that I need to clear off so it won't be so heavy, right? When I get to that point where I get derailed, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look at that, opposed to allowing the distraction of social media. I'm not even a phone person. I don't even talk on the phone. I'm not even a TV watcher, right? I'm probably more a social media, right? I'm a YTTT viewer, right? So I'm on here absorbing everybody else's information, and sometimes being here helps me be better. I will say that. I will say being in this space helps me be better. And so it's not, you have to find the positive in everything that you do. You have to find the negative in everything that you do so that you can have that balance. People don't want to talk about negativity, but negativity is not negative. It can be positive. I'm going to let that sink in right there. Negativity doesn't have to be negative. It could be positive. And we always need to look into those things as they are, okay? And don't shy away from it, but tap into it. Go within. Remember, the real self-care starts on the inside. The only way you can actually say that you're caring for yourself is to tap into who you are. Self-care is not an exterior job. It is an inside job, y'all. It's an inside job. It ain't about getting your nails done. It ain't about, putting on your makeup. It ain't about washing your body and taking a shower. It ain't about soaking in the tub. It's not about those things. If you're not tapping within, then self-care has not began for you yet. If you're not tapping within, then self-care has not began for you just yet. So that's where I am with this, okay? So that's where I'm at. I appreciate y'all being here. We're going to do this every Wednesday. We're going to talk about what's on our plate. We're going to talk nutritionally, more in-depth nutrition. We're going to talk more in-depth mental. We're going to talk physical, spiritual, and physical aspects of what's on your plate. We're going to tap into these things because it's very important that we stay abreast to this. So this is what you can expect on Wednesdays. Wednesday is a good day for me. It's midweek. Most people are like ready for their week to be over. So with that being said, you are so welcome. Gigi, thank you so much for joining in today. Thank you for coming through. Y'all know over here at Queen's Alchemy, the alchemist is what I call y'all. We over here transforming y'all. We transforming our life. We're reclaiming our life. one habit at a time. So we're dealing with not just the physical, but the mental, right? So we're doing, at Queen's Alchemy, we deal with the mind, body, and spirit. Okay, so we don't put ourselves in a box, but sometimes being boxed in is not a bad thing depending on the box, because we all don't want to be in the same box doing the same thing. But with that being said, y'all, I appreciate each and every one of you joining in today. We've been on here probably close to an hour now, and I don't want to exhaust it in any way, but if you tap in on Thursday. Thursdays, I do a Taster Thursday or Thirsty Thursdays, where we going to either, do some type of nutrition. We're going to tap into something in the kitchen, y'all. On Thursdays, we're going to be tapping into something in the kitchen. So make sure y'all tap in tomorrow with me, and I'll see y'all then. Peace, love, and wellness. Let me see. Hold on. Iman Dave, I'm going to call you Dave. I have 40 employees. It's a good reminder to think about my stress and concerns, create negative energy and concerns, create negative energy and how to self-care so I can be my best. It's not an option. It's necessary. Absolutely. And these employees run a spa, but I don't get myself massages. Wow. Wow. Yep. So you're doing it the right way. And also another thing that you may want to, you say you have 40 employees. Let me tell you this really quick. If you can, for your employees, put together some type of self-care regiment, work-life balance, something that, maybe something that's outside of the workplace that, that you can put together for them, because that's definitely something that can also be rewarding for you, because like you said, the stress is on you and you're not caring for yourself. But think about how many of the employees is probably doing the same thing. And if they know, people show up different when they know someone else cares. Okay. I'm going to let you know, I do work for a organization that actually appears that they care, right? And because of that, you can show up and perform a little bit different, but it doesn't make me want to show up to work anymore than doesn't make me want to do it more because of their considerate, nature, or their way they look out for their employees. But I definitely know that if that's something that you can do, you definitely should. But thank you for that comment. Thank you for tapping in, Dave. And I'm going to wish you the best. Definitely, over here this year, 2026, that's all we're going to be focusing in on is self-care. That's really what it's going to be about, right? So self-care, because self-care looks different than what we think it looks like, right? I told you it's an inside job. It's an inside job. All right. You're welcome, Dave. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. Everybody, I'm getting ready to get out of here. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody who's come in, shared the live. Thank you for the likes and the same. And I'll see y'all tomorrow in the kitchen. Peace, love, and well.